Hi, I'm Ash and welcome to this new video where we're looking at the Parawing Tack. Before we get into looking at the tack itself, let's just take a moment to consider things that will help us to be successful. First, the parawing you pick to do this actually matters. Not all parawings are born equal when it comes to tacking. If the parawing you are using has a very hooked trailing edge, like a power pack for example, then it's not going to be a very fast parawing and it will carry more drag, and this is unhelpful when tacking. Additionally, the higher your parawing can point upwind, the less angle you need to fall through to make the tack. The Pocket Rocket V2 for example tacks much more easily than the power pack. It has a higher upwind angle, is faster and carries less drag when you turn it into the wind, so it gives you an edge over doing it with a power pack where you have to turn further with less speed and more drag. The Nash Hatch V2 was also a nice wing to tack. The other area where we can help ourselves is we want our foil to give a reasonable amount of glide, but we also want to turn quite quickly and have a good low end. Personally, I'm currently using a duotone crest 925. I would avoid very high aspect wings when learning, as we need a foil that will turn quickly rather than big long arcs. If you want even more low end, you could size up to the crest 1050. I would not go too large though, as you start to sacrifice speed. If you aren't familiar with the crest, then all you need to know is that it is a modern mid-aspect foil. The third item we can control is conditions. We want to practice tacks in relatively flat water, and I would say in 15 to 25 knots of wind, either with a 4 meter or a 3.5 meter wing. These sizes of wings I've found to be the most stable and forgiving for learning without being too big and unwieldy. They also tend to be less twitchy than the smaller sizes. Okay, that is the gear and conditions discussion done. I'm going to start with the toe side to heel side tack, as that one is probably the easiest to learn first. This is because you come from toe side back into your familiar stance, so the end of your tack where you need to be the most stable, you're in your strongest and most familiar stance. Here we are in toe side, unhooked from the harness and preparing to tack. We want to be pointing upwind as far as possible, but without losing speed, because speed is our friend in the tack as it buys us time. Our hands should both be on the bar, side by side towards the front of the bar and palm down. The way we initiate the tack is we send the wing first and immediately follow it with carving the board. We are looking to fly the wing up and into the wind so that it passes overhead and onto the other side of our board. It is tempting, especially if you come from inflatable wings, to try to carve the board first. Don't do this. Initiate the wing movement first and then immediately follow with the board. Something that is absolutely paramount is you don't want to send the wing too hard. If you throw it straight over to the other side of the board, then we will both lose control of the parawing, lose line tension and come off of foil. What we're looking for here is a nice progressive flight of the wing to overhead, with it on trajectory to go to the other side of the board, but not too quickly. We want to ensure we maintain line tension and don't just flag the wing out above our heads, as this produces lots of drag and kills all of our speed. When the wing is directly overhead, we let go of the backhand and swap hands, so our backhand becomes the new front hand. This happens quickly, directly overhead, and we want to be sheeting in with our new backhand, getting the line tension back on as soon as possible and getting power to pull us through the tack. Let's look at another example where we drive the Parawing too hard, lose line tension and flag the wing. What you'll see here is the wing transitions too quickly and I missed the hand swap overhead. This leads to flying the wing off the front hand only, which flags it out, we lose line tension and we come off of foil. It's really important to get that hand swap overhead. It's possible to tack with a late hand swap, but the chances of falling out reduce significantly. So this next clip I show the tack with a late hand switch that works, but it only works because it is really windy and a gust saves me and powers up the wing just as I grab it with my new backhand. Up until that point you can see the wing is completely flagged out and generating no power. This next clip I tack straight into a lull in the wind, so even though everything is right, there's just no wind to power up and pull me out of the tack. Lots of your first tacks will look much like this one. Okay, let's look at one more toe side tack where we have a brief touchdown, but it is otherwise a nice tack. Note how in this tack I hold line tension in the Parawing throughout the tack to keep it efficient as we go through the eye of the wind. Okay, let's take a look at the hillside tack now. This works in exactly the same way, it's just a little bit more of a body contortion as you're going from hillside into toe side, which makes powering up afterwards a little more difficult. Slowing that down, I am once again pointing high upwind, but not so high that I lose speed. With the hillside, we initiate the carve of the board first and then follow with the wing. This is the only bit of the tack that is different in that we carve the board first, and we do this because it's just much easier to do the carve first from a hillside stance. You can see I've carved the board quite a way into the wind before I send the Parawing. That send is a tiny bit faster than when you do it toe side, but the hand swap does once again occur directly overhead. Note that I am also once again assuring I hold line tension into my back lines and don't let the wing flag out on the front lines and create a load of unwanted drag. As soon as the hand swap is complete, we're pulling in on that backhand and getting power back into the wing. We'll look at one more hillside tack. Again, we carve the board first. Then once we've got our carve initiated, we send the wing and keep line tension in our back lines. The hand swap occurs overhead, and then as soon as the hand swap has occurred, we power up with our new backhand to get power back into that wing to pull us through and onto our new direction. Let's look at and diagnose some tack failures. This first one is a classic missed hand swap overhead and the wing flagging out and losing power. Next we have what happens if you don't send the wing strongly enough and it doesn't make it over onto the new direction. This next one is tacking in lighter winds with a more draggy Parawing. The tack works okay, but we just don't have the speed or wind strength to make it out on foil. This next one I actually tacked into the turbulence of the passing Parawing, and it just took my wing out of the air and hit the water, and that failed the tack. And this next one is losing line tension as the wing goes overhead and flying off of one hand, and I just don't have any power to repower and get back out the tack on foil. Now this next one is what a lot of your tacks will look like when you're first learning, where you get through the tack but you're not quite efficient enough to get the power back into the wing quickly, and so you have a little bit of a touchdown, but note the board hasn't actually lost speed, and so a few pumps and you're back up on foil. And this is a successful tack for me. It's just there is a little bit of a touchdown at the end, but everything else worked. And this is another example of that, but at full speed rather than half speed. We have concentrated a lot here on wing control, but there is another important factor, which is foil control. When we send the wing, it's very easy to end up putting your weight on your back foot. This causes the foil to climb, lose speed or breach, and you can also get a tip breach because you're banking the foil quite hard and climbing at the same time. You can see this weight transfer happening in this tack I'm about to show. What you can see here from my posture is that I have weight on my back foot. The foil has climbed and is tip breaching. Fortunately, the crest foil is very tolerant of a tip breach, and I readjust and push my weight onto my front foot, as you can see here. Note how my posture has significantly changed. I've shifted my hips towards the front of the board to push weight onto my front foot and level the board, and the foil is now quite deep in the water again. That weight shift saves the tack and we have a good successful outcome. I hope this video has been useful in explaining the Parawing Tack, and I'll see you on the next video.